So now we come back again to the theme we talked about in a previous video. We talked about this tetrachord functionment and how it leads to the building of the maqams. And now we will see how one maqam is generated out of one scale. So one of the main maqams is rast. I will give a lot of names for maqams. This is not the most important. The most important is the scale itself. So I will tell note by note what is the scale constituted of, and then we build bit by bit the rest of the thing. So C, D, E half flat, F, G, A, B half flat, and then C again. There's also possibility to play a B flat, and from this scale, like if we start from the second degree, which is D, we can find a new maqam, which is bayati. So from D to D with the same notes, and from E half flat, the third degree, that's a maqam with another character, and from the fourth degree we have jaharka maqam. Those are like the main classic maqams. If you have one, even for a composition or for an improvisation, it's enough to stop on one of those 4 degrees to switch to another maqam. So that's one key for modulations. 2 other tricks for modulations we would explore in here. One is keeping the same root and going on the same route to another maqam, and one is to keep the same maqam and move inside of it. So I would start with staying in one same maqam and exploring possibilities. For now, I would stick to D minor. So we have the scale again. We play D minor Aeolian, always better to explain stuff. So I can start a taqsim with only exposing D minor. And then, for example, go into the 5th. And then I'm in maqam Kurdi. C major, which is Ajam over C. And now we can use the major 7 to establish a new maqam. C sharp, maybe an F half sharp can be useful. Color. So that's one way. The other way is I would keep the same root of D and play several maqams, but all on the same root. If I switch to another maqam, I don't switch like in this maqam inside of the scale of D minor, but over the same root of D. So, for example, I can start with introduce an B half flat, and now coming back to D minor. And so on, and so on, and so on. There's no rule where you have to go, but once you chose the notes you would play on, this would make specific the maqam to which you will switch, and this helps a lot. So the more you know, or you have an idea about where you're going through a taqsim, the easiest it will be to modulate. As I said, there's no rule, and one maybe advice I would give is to breathe as much as you can during a taqsim, just to know what you did, to realize what happened, so you don't repeat one same idea more than necessary, and then you plan your next steps over taqsim. And with Jonathan, we will explore the same functionment of the scales via other examples that he will present in this video.
Thank you. I will introduce some typical Western scales. I will skip the modes of major or Ionian with the equivalent of Rast. Fadhel already told us they're like also sort of modes of Rast, and everybody should be familiar with those scales. But I will introduce some symmetrical scales, like means you can. They are consisting of the building devices are repeated again and again. For example, the whole tone scale is just built by six hexatonic steps. Yeah, and I want to show how the hexatonic scale could be used like in a melodic way in a composition by a band that is one of my favorites, King Crimson. As I told in the first video, like I was inspired by this crazy progressive rock bands, and King Crimson is special also for me because it's not only in this kind of cliche niche, but it's also like really open from the concept interstylistic. They include like jazz, rock, and classical stuff into their music, and also like intercultural, from gamelan and Indian music. So it was an early influence, and I want to show how King Crimson can be played by an oud trio. We play a tune that's called One More Red Nightmare, and it's like just like half a minute, purely whole tone scale. And another scale that I want to mention is an octatonic scale, so 8 notes. It's like either the half-tone whole tone scale or the whole tone half-tone scale. It depends where you start the whole trip. So it's like and this scale was also used by King Crimson on the same album. Actually, the tune is called Red, and we'll play it now with the trio. And another small side subject that I want to mention is like melodic counterpoint. So from my point of view, my role as a bass player could consist of two different models how I create my bass lines. And the first one is like the solid foundation for the music. So mainly playing roots and chord tones to create the fundamental, and everything is like built on. And the second one is like the melodic counterpoint, and this is like also hugely inspired by the works of J.S. Bach, who wrote a lot of awesome works around counterpoint. And in my bass playing I can switch sort of between those two models or ideas, and we want to show this in a piece by Dominik Fürstberger, Two Sides of a Coin. So some possibilities how to create melodic counterpoint between two instruments.